Hello, and welcome to Medieval Dynasty. Well, we're still in the autumn, and the plan was, well, I actually wanted to build a smithy, but I've realised I've kind of like hit a bit of a brick wall, basically. I can't go much further because the plan was I wanted to build a smithy and a house for the actual worker to live in, but, well, we can only build 15 buildings, and I've already used up 14. So it's like, even if I did get the smithy built, I'm kind of stuck. I mean, I could put somebody into like a spare house, if you will, because you can have two people living in a house. But the trouble is, then I'll be stuck completely because, well, if we go back to chapter 6, which is where we're up to in here, in order for me to increase the build limit, I need to complete this chapter, and it needs me to build 2 actual extra buildings. So, for one thing, I've actually don't have enough room to build 2 more buildings, so it's a case of, well, I'm going to have to progress with this. I'm going to have to build a well, I'm going to have to build a workshop, but I'm going to have to knock something down in the process to be able to build those other 2. So at least then I'll get an extra 10 buildings in my my inventory, if you will. So that's the plan then. Yeah, plans go out the window as ever. So I'm just going to check with our other half, see how things are going. Oh, thanks. Let's see, so how are things doing? Everything's up and running, Captain Husband. Okay. Fair enough. So there's, I'm not going far actually, but never mind. So she's busy working the field here. So I think what I'm going to do, I mean, to be fair, I did actually check the management section first. If I go into here, there's usually some sort of like warning will pop up in terms of the status column that we've got here, and there's nothing here complaining. So I mean, it's worth asking, although you never know. Anywho, I think the plan is I'm going to knock that building down over there. So that's our lumberjack's workplace. So that's the, let's see what, that's the woodshed. So I don't need that many resources to rebuild something like that. I mean, it just means we'll have a bit of a time window where we're not getting any wood produced. I mean, we've got a bit in storage anyway. But I'm just going to double check, because as far as I recall, I think I've got I've got that skill which allows me to get 50% of resources back whenever I destroy something. So if I didn't have that skill and I knocked that building down, well, that was it. I've used those resources and I'll never get anything back from it. Because I've got that skill though, it means I'll actually get half of my resources back. And to be fair, it hardly needs any at all, hence the reason why I'm picking it, because you just need enough logs to build the frame. Then you just need some resources to build this this wall here, and then the thatch to get the roof done. It's very, very simple to do, so that's the reason I want to knock that down. But I want to leave it as a kind of like a last resort. So if I go and select that specific quest, at least I know what I need to do now. So we need a well and we need a workshop. There's no particular order to it. I mean, if I just go back into the logging, see there's all these other things that actually asked us to achieve as well. So we've already got the resource storage, we've already got a woodshed, we've already got a food storage. Now, it's going to be interesting, because if I destroy the woodshed, is it then going to say, well, actually, you haven't got a woodshed anymore? So I want to find that out, because if it is, I'm kind of back to square one. I'll have to knock something else down instead. So it's like, fingers crossed it won't complain just because of, you know, we've knocked it down. But the way I'm doing this is, I mean, this little village that we've got going here, it's just kind of like a starter village, really. My real goal is to build other villages somewhere else. But while we're over here, I'm just going to put basically the main production buildings down this side here. We've got all of those people who are working out in the woods. They're going to be living over on that side. Just keeps things a bit simple. So we've got our farming right in the middle and our storage right in the middle of all that. So I think what I'm going to do is, like I said, I don't necessarily need somewhere for anybody to live. I just have to build the building itself. I don't need anybody working in it. I just need the building. So let's have a look and see what's needed for the actual workshop. That comes under production. So we need 8 logs to build that initial frame. Then we're probably going to need sticks and thatch, because that's where we are at. With tier 1, it's just pretty much just thatch and sticks. You can't you can't really do anything. You can't upgrade them. You've then got to knock it down, and then, you know, once you've got the technology points, you could knock that down or just build a completely new tier 2 building, and that's a bit better, more capacity as well. So we're going to have to go out and chop down a lot of actual trees. I mean, incidentally, I've actually got this iron axe. I actually found this when I was coming back from Denica on the way to Ronnica when we were looking for that missing courier. When we found the courier, I started heading back, came out of Denica. I got so far down and there was just some logs on the floor and that iron axe was there. And then we found another, it was a cart along here, then there was another cart along there, but that's where I got the axe from. When I came back from Gostovia, I took a slightly altered route because I was trying to have a think of where we could start building our farming village. And I actually found some bottles of beer around here, plus some trousers, incidentally, which is a bit interesting. I'm curious as to why somebody left all those on the actual on the beach area. So we've now got trousers which have got 10 protection against the cold versus what Rasamir has. So actually I may as well go for both, because as you can see in green it's giving us +5 benefits to both. So the only thing is I can't sell. You can see there's no price against Rasamir's things. So I may as well put that in the chest. I just can't sell it, I'm just stuck with it. But anyway, I'm going to start chopping down some maple trees, because that's the easiest way. There's less wear and tear on the axe. It's kind of like, I suppose it goes both ways in the sense that the more you wear out and have to keep replacing your axe, the more XP you're going to get in something else. So it's, yeah, 6 and 2 3s, I suppose. Anyway, I need to get enough logs, and I need to get my workshop built. Well, we're now into the final day of winter. I thought I'd wait until a new day, just because of the fact that it was getting dark, so it's difficult to see anything. Just better get something to eat. I don't want to eat too much, because when we transition from winter to autumn, so in other words, when we get from one season to another, well, it's just a case of we're going to get all of those resources refilled anyway, so there's no point topping up all of my food again, just for this specific day. Now I'll grab some water. And I'm going to have a look at this workshop, because, I mean, this is a tier 1 workshop, so it didn't really take that much to do. I just needed the wooden door frame and then just the roof. So that's just some thatch and some extra logs. But there's not a great deal we can do with here anyway, to be honest, because they're all locked out. Everything bar just a simple torch. I mean, we can make a simple torch anyway ourselves. Don't need a workshop to do it. But everything else, we're going to have to unlock them. Now, some of them actually need extra crafting technology anyway, whereas some of them we just need to, you know, pay for the actual schemer. Now, the only ones at the minute that are jumping out to me are the bucket, for example, because we need to be able to supply our villagers with water now, and these buckets do wear out, so I do have to keep getting buckets every now and again. Some of the food that we make, or could make, requires bowls or wooden plates, so these would be something we'd probably keep making on a regular basis. Everything else is mostly cosmetic. I mean, things like wicker baskets, I mean, you can place them around the areas to add a bit of, you know, cosmetic benefit, if you will, to the area, but we can also actually sell them, and I think it'll come in a lot better once we get into things like the market stalls, where you can actually sell your own things. So rather than me taking them to a vendor in a village, I can get somebody to make them, and then we'll get the actual, our own vendor, if you will, to sell them. But all we want to do at this stage is just get through the chapter. So I'm not going to build another house for somebody to live in there, because I'm not going to hire anybody, at least not yet. But what we do need to do is build a well. So the well comes, now where does that, services? Nope. Production maybe? Nope. Storage. Nope. Extraction. Yeah, comes under extraction. So, although I want to build that, and I've got enough technology points for it, it's locked out because it's saying you've exceeded the building limit. So we've actually built 15 buildings and it won't let us go any further. I did want to check that just out of curiosity, just to see if I could get around it, but I can't. So we have to knock something down, and what I'm thinking is the easiest thing to me is going to be to knock down that woodshed over there. because there's hardly anything was needed to make this. I just had to build a frame, put the wall in, and then put the thatch roofing in. The only trouble is, it's part of the chapter, and I don't know if I knock this down. I mean, it says we've built one, but if we knock this down, is it going to then suddenly complain and say, you haven't built one, you need to build one? So, one way to find out, get my hammer out, and I'm going to select destroy. So it shows us what we can do. So, if I destroy that wooden wall, well, Siegfried here he's left, because that's it. This building's... Hold on. Well, getting those extra points because we've got someone working over in the actual kitchen down there, so we're getting XP on this in the background basically. But he's now left because this building's now completely out of commission. Even though all we've done is just taken the wall out, that's it. It's no longer available. It's something to bear in mind if you ever want to upgrade the houses, because you can replace those wattle walls, for example, with wood and stone. You can do it when you build a building, but you can also do it afterwards and upgrade it. The only trouble is, as soon as you take a wall down, that's it. The house is no longer available, and you'll have a family potentially that's got nowhere to live, got no food, no water, and no wood. So it's a case of you're going to have to bear that in mind. Anyway, we're going to knock down our roof here. I'm just going to do a quick check of the chest. Right, there's nothing in there, because when we destroy your building, when it's got a chest, if there's anything in, it'll actually say you've got to make sure you've got to empty the chest first. So okay, we've done that, and then we'll destroy the frame. And now it said we need to build a woodshed, so I'm back to square one. Rats. Right, okay, so I'm gonna have to chop down a tree. I'm gonna have to rebuild this. I was hoping that basically that was just like a one-off requirement. It's a case of, yeah, okay, fair enough, you've actually built one. That was just a... Yeah, I think that the devs have obviously put a bit more thought into this. So that's a bit of a pain, because it means I now have to think of something else to knock down. But I need to rebuild this this woodshed first. So that comes under extraction. So I'll put that back again. Right, so that's going to need a log. So you can see I've got half of the straw that I started with. Oh, sorry, I've got half the straw that I need, and that's because of this skill that I've got, which is Master of Destruction. If I didn't have that skill, I would have basically had to start completely from scratch. Because I've put a point into that skill, and that's it. It's now maxed out. It's just one of one point that goes into this. But what it meant is that by me destroying that building, I've got half of its resources back. So yeah, the problem as well is that because this is a really new building, even though I've replaced another one, it means I'm also going to have to redo all of the assignment stuff again. I'm going to have to reassign Siegfried to the job, and I'm going to have to reassign the actual the work plans as well. So I'll get that finished off. Then we'll have to come up with what it is we're actually going to knock down next then. Right, so that's the woodshed replaced. I can't remember what the original settings were. So I've set that up so that we're producing enough sticks to match what the smithy wanted. We've got enough logs left over. So I'm focusing the rest into things like firewood and planks. Actually, firewood might be a bit too high. So I forgot that's at about a factor of 4. Probably do with a few more spare logs. So that gives us, I mean, 6 planks on 2 bar. But one thing I've noticed, yeah, we've got a boost in technology, so I don't know exactly which one that was. It wasn't the pigsty. So could have been because of the sewing hut that we got. Because I mean, we got that simply because of somebody working in the kitchen, which incidentally is what I'm going to be knocking down next. Because, in fact, I'm actually going to double check because that's not on the list. Yeah, it's not on the list. I mean, I've reassigned Siegfried back to there as well. Last I checked, his morale was starting to go back up again. But yeah, I think it's probably easier for me to knock the kitchen down rather than the smithy, because I'm going to have the same problem as I did with the woodshed, where I'm going to have to remember exactly what workload is assigned. Over here, we've just got... trying to remember who this was. It's Rosalinda. Yeah, Agnes is one of the more recent ones because she's our herbalist. Rosalinda, she's the cook, but I'm going to have to knock this kitchen down. So that's three panels, I think. 3 panels plus the roof. Again, as soon as I break that wall, that's it. She's out of the job, and her morale's going to start going down. Bit of a pain, I must admit. Oh, there's an extra wall up there. But part of the reason for doing this one is just the fact that all she was doing was making the cooked meat anyway, so it's easier for me to restore that one. Take that one down. Right, so that's the kitchen torn down. So now I've got enough room, I've got enough capacity to add the well. So unfortunately she's got nowhere to work at the minute, but I don't think it'll take me too long to build a well. So that one, I'm assuming that comes under extraction. Yeah. So it just needs 4 logs and that's it. Plus a bit of thatch for the roofing and a log. And my hammer broke, okay. Oh, that was convenient. We happen to have enough. Reassign that and finish that roofing off. So once this is built, I mean, you really want somebody actually assigned to it to actually do the work. Because, I mean, to be honest, for me, I can just go to the river. I can just fill a bucket up at the river anyway. I mean, I don't personally need a well. Because if I put that bucket... Oh, hello, people management. Okay. Yeah, I'm way past that. I don't need to know that. But I can go down to the river. I can equip the bucket that I've got, and it says there, fill the bucket. Or if you go to the well, you select the well. It gives you an option, and it depends on what you've got on you. So you can either fill a water skin, or you can fill a bucket. So if this was an NPC, they'd be, yeah, they'd basically, they need access to buckets, and they need to then be able to pull the water from the well. So it seems kind of odd that you don't take advantage of the fact that we're living next to a river. It just seems just plain bizarre. Right. So the next thing we need to do as far as the chapter's concerned is it's really I'm going to have to hunt a moose, bison and a bear. I have done a bear using a bow and arrow, I must admit. The bison, that was a lot more of a struggle. I found that was better done with an actual spear, well, with several spears really, copper ones. The moose just tends to run away, so that's an interesting chase. But the benefit is you end up with an extra 1,000 in dynasty reputation, or dynasty reputation if you will, and it boosts your building limit to 45 versus 35. So, I mean, I've got plenty of scope here, but I guess the first thing I really need to do, which is my priority, is to, well, I need to get this kitchen back up and running again. So what does that need? Not handcrafting, building, production. There's a kitchen option in here somewhere. Kitchen there, so we need more logs. Right. I'm going to get your building sorted out shortly. You can just, like, stand around, enjoy the sunshine. Be back in a while. Right, see you shortly. Right then, so that's finally sorted out. Oh, that's a lot just for building a couple of buildings. So we're now at the point where that's asking for the big game hunt, basically all of the bigger animals to hunt. Building wise, we can go right up to 35, so there's no particular rush I don't think to get that far. But what I do want to do, I mean, I started reassigning like tasks for the kitchen here. I think what I want to do, I want to find out, I think it's the plate that we need. So I think what I want to do is to actually make some meat with gravy, because I find that useful. Even if we don't keep it for the villagers themselves, I find it quite useful. So if I go over to other, and then, now that's already unlocked, so it needs 3 onions, 4 roasted meat this time, and wooden plates. So I need wooden plates, which I can actually unlock here. So I'll pay for that schemer. So that gives me, we get 5 for every log that we've got. Now, I should really chop down some trees, but for the sake of keeping things easy, I'm just going to get some logs out of here. So if I get, say, 4 logs, that should be enough to make 20 plates, I think. Because I think it said you get 5 plates per log. So it's a bit slow, I must admit, if you're going to make a lot of these. So we'll make 4 lots of them. Yeah, we're getting 5 wooden plates for every log we use. So if I then put these plates into the actual central storage area over there, we can actually get her to start making the meat with gravy as well. Because at the moment, that's just something that's missing, so she can't make any. So I'm going to put... Well, I'll put most of them in. I actually want to just make myself some of this food while I'm at it. So I think it was 5... So it's about 15 onions I think I need. So 15 onions. So we've got about 201. That's pretty good. Well, we haven't been using them up to now anyway, to be fair. I think it was 4 roasted meat for each one, so it's about 20 that we want. I'll get the oldest stuff first. Oh, I already had some on me anyway. So if I now go over to the kitchen myself, this has changed slightly because I can actually ask her to free up the cauldron. You've just got to kind of like time it a bit. But then I can use the cauldron. What used to happen before in early access is you basically just kick them out of the way. As soon as you start using it, they went and start doing something else. I mean, to be fair, it's just an animation that they're doing anyway. Oh, I meant to do 5 of them. But this is very, very slow, I find, doing the cooking. So there are skills that you can get to speed this up. You can see it's taking quite a long time, and asking her to do it is probably going to take a really long time. Now, at the moment, all she's doing is just cooking meat. But you can ask them to actually make these sort of things as well. So even if I can get her to make some small amount during the day, I mean, it might be something, but if I go into here and my inventory and have a look, so meat with gravy now gets us 30 food plus 10 water, so that's not bad. So I think that's something I could do with just keeping on my person, for example. But if we go to the kitchen, I started assigning a task for this, but the trouble was, because I didn't have any plates, it didn't give me any clues as to how long it was going to take or how many she could make. So, oh wow. So she needs to devote 15% of her time just to make one. So if I push this up to 2 maybe. Yeah, that's a lot of time spent just to make 2. I mean, we make more than enough like roasted meat, I must admit. So that's maxed out. So yeah, it's tempting to just leave them just doing the roasted meat. But the thing is, if I want to keep that for myself, if we go over to here, which is the people's demand control, food items. So somewhere down there should be meat with gravy. So if I deselect that option, then what should happen is she'll start producing the actual roast meat, which is something they'll all be able to eat. So somewhere down here is roasted meat that they'll be eating. We'll also start to see her producing meat with gravy, but that, although that'll go into the same central food storage area, because I've deselected that, they shouldn't eat it. I'm going to do the same with cabbages as well, actually, because I want to keep the cabbages for rot. I wouldn't really want to encourage anybody to be eating raw onions, I must admit. So if they want to eat them, that's entirely up to them. So there's quite a lot of mushrooms. Wow, we've got quite a lot of mushrooms being gathered, I notice. Yeah, I'm still puzzled over as to why the rot is down as a potentially consumable item. Unless that's to do with maybe for rot, when you actually convert rot into fertilizer, maybe that just prevents them. Because you've got to put an actual order in to tell them to convert rot in the bar anyway, to be fair. But yeah, that's interesting. So there's a lot of things we can tell them, like, they can't do. I'm just curious to see if they'll actually follow through. When I could tell them don't use up the planks, for example, because I want to keep those for the building. So fortunately, they're last on the list. And to be fair, I'd rather them have at least something to keep warm than something to actually then just leave them to go cold, because in the winter especially, because then morale will drop, and they do actually leave. I mean, I haven't actually seen anybody leave, but once the morale gets too low, they will actually leave. Anywho, that was a lot of hassle just to be able to get one step further. I mean, I've had to put those in just for the sake of being, just being able to progress that chapter, just for the sake of being able to get more buildings, because I was thinking of building a smithy, and I've just realised I already actually have one. I built it before. So the next thing to do is probably, I'm thinking of the actual pigsty. The pigsty, I think, would be extremely useful because one thing, we get manure from our pigs. Another is you can actually sell pigs off. So there's only a certain amount of pigs you can keep in the pigsty. Same goes with the other buildings. There's only a certain number of animals. So if you go out and buy, say, like two piglets, a male and a female, they'll grow up, they'll breed, and they'll start to produce more pigs. I've noticed sometimes it does take a while before they even do that. Even once they've reached adulthood, it can still take a while. But once you've got a lot of pigs, it makes sense to probably start selling maybe one of them off to make some money. But in the meantime, you're getting manure out of them, plus you can convert that over to fertilizer. But another thing I'm thinking of doing is that I'm going to hold off on that for now because of the morale. I want to run a little experiment. I want to find out if these folks are going to get more productive if I improve their morale. Because at the moment they've just got a house, wattle walls, thatch roofs. If I improve those houses, it'll improve their morale. And as far as I'm aware, that should then improve their productivity. Because if we go over to a building, so like the Woodshed, for example, we're getting this, this is our production that we're getting out of this one individual, running at this rate, doing all these sort of things with level 3 extraction. This is what we're actually producing in a day. So I'm curious to find out if I can improve that by improving their morale. Now, granted, we're going into the winter, so this could get a bit interesting. But that's all for another episode.